Last night on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Before we begin tonight, Andrew, it was a big day over at the Fan as Ron Cook has decided to call it a career. Pretty emotional day for him today on the Cook and Joe show, and then I'm sure you guys had some thoughts about Ron's career, which has been spanning over 40-plus years, doing a lot of column writing over the years. We estimated over 7,000. And he's decided that that is enough, and he wants to enjoy the rest of his life. So on behalf of everyone here, I'm sure you guys would agree, wish him all the best and what hopefully is a very long and productive retirement.
And how many sports calls did he do, Bob? He was a big part of this show for a long time and helped put this show on the map. And I was very fortunate enough to work with Ron as his co-host from January of 2014 to September of 2018. And I owe a lot of my, my ability to maintain in this market to be here in Pittsburgh to Ron. He decided before we started together in 2014, in December of that previous year, 2013, to work with me. It was his call. He had a lot to do with that, and he was receptive to the idea of working with someone at the time who was in his late 20s. And I'd been doing nighttime shows and overnight stuff, and Ron, I guess, respected me enough or was amenable to allowing for me to do that show with him, which he didn't have to do that. He was willing to do that, and I'm always grateful, forever grateful, that he gave me that chance. So I'm very excited for him and his daughter Taylor. I heard the whole story today about him going down there with her. And the one thing that almost had me, is Ron liked to say flabbergasted, Bob, was when he said he can't wait to watch the Super Bowl and then not have to write or talk about it the next day. Now, you know me and I know you. I feel like I get up in the morning, I get out of bed, and that's all I want to do is talk about what I just watched. So more power to him. I guess he said, you know when you know, and he's ready to just live a long, relaxing, retired life. And kudos to him for that decision.
I wish him all the best. And it will be tough. Some days you just want to talk about it. It's what we've done for all these years, and I'm sure he's going to fight that battle, that little tug of war that goes on as time goes on, but certainly wish him the best. All right, let's talk about the Steelers. They need a new wide receivers coach, and the name Hines Ward pops up only because he's done this and he's wanting to get in coaches. He started here as an assistant offensive coach intern back in 2017. He's Hines Ward. Does that give him an extra edge in trying to get this? I know there was a time where they were talking to him about it, and it never did work out for whatever reason. Your thoughts about him potentially becoming a wide receivers coach here?
I'd absolutely love it, and that's not just because of a borderline Hall of Fame career. It's he also has put in the work. He's put in the hours to make himself a coach. He had to do the developmental stuff that you talked about. He went to the XFL for a year there in San Antonio. He was a Jets wide receivers coach. This is not just saying, hey, this guy was a good player, therefore let's see if he can coach. He's trying to make his bones in the business, and I give him credit. Not a lot of guys with that career want to start at the bottom and try to work their way at the top. And given the lack of discipline that I saw with George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, here's a guy that never took a play off. And how do you quit on somebody like Hines Ward? So I want Hines Ward. I don't want them to stop at Hines Ward, though. Eric Bieniemy is now a free agent. Create a position for him. You got rid of your assistant quarterbacks coach and somebody else today. Can you create a job for Byron Leftwich with this team? They've been lacking offensive minds and brain power for so long, Bob. Let's put some serious time and money into that now. And there's so many good coaches available. I'd love to see the Steelers, just like they did with Brian Flores, let's see them start to do that on the offensive side of the ball this offseason.
Yeah, you bring up the tweet of the night, which is brought to you by GMC, Buick GMC. And, Adam Schefter had it when he said Dan Quinn has decided to move on. Now, they brought in Cliff Kingsbury. I'm going to get to a commercial. When we come back, we can talk more about this. But Eric Bieniemy, man, he went from one of the hottest names in coaching, potential head coaches. Now he's out of a job. And I would agree. I think the Steelers are looking for somebody who comes with a high regard for offense. That would be good. And as far as Hines Ward is concerned, I think the word we're looking for is accountability. He would make his players in the wide receiver room certainly accountable. We have a lot of people on the lines, Andrew, so let's get right to it. Time is limited. Our number one Cochran Go One Better caller of the night is DJ in Pittsburgh. Hey, DJ.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Hey, we were just ready to
DJ.
the best sports. Whoever just rated the best Steeler sports fans, right, in the whole NFL. So I think that if you want to be the best sports fans, we need the best quarterback. Let's get Justin Fields in here, and let's get BNB in here and Hines Ward. Okay, let's make a run at the Super Bowl already.
Well, it's interesting. The name Fields has come up quite a bit because it's quite clear that Chicago is looking to move on with a #1 overall pick. If they didn't have that, I'm sure that would be a different story, but it is. And so therefore it could be one of those situations where you don't have to give up all that much for a guy who has a lot of talent and is only 24 years old. And whether or not, you know, he would be here versus, I'm sure a lot of teams would be interested, Andrew. But if I were the Steelers, I would certainly inquire about all of this. Why not? You're in a position where you should do it. You need help in the quarterback room. And there's no reason not to do it if it makes sense from a, you know, draft equity situation. If they want only a 3rd-round pick, then why not do something like that?
Yeah, I feel like Mike Tomlin liked Justin Fields more than Kenny Pickett when those two guys were coming out of college and in the draft. And the reason why Fields didn't happen was because they didn't want to jump the gun on another quarterback while Ben was still on the roster. But I feel like, Bob, if he had fallen to them in that draft, they would have taken him. They weren't going to trade up for him, but if he had somehow fallen a few more spots in the Najee draft, I think they take Fields. And there's been some good reporting on that backs that up. And we know how much the Steelers value their scouting reports and their draft profiles on players when they become available again. They cite that all the time in free agency. They cited that when Minkah Fitzpatrick was traded for. The homework they do on these guys before they come into the NFL. So right now the organization is behind Kenny Pickett, but when Fields becomes available, I think Mike Tomlin is going to definitely look into it, and we'll see if he gets the support from his front office and his owner on that one.
A lot of interesting stuff going on, and one of the things I've seen a lot is college coaches moving to the NFL just to get away from college football. Right now, it is a wild, wild west situation where you have this NIL transfers all over the place, hard to build a team, and some of these guys are leaving. And we saw it again today when Pat Narduzzi had to put out a statement talking about Charlie Partridge, who's been one of the chief recruiters, a guy who's had to deal with this stuff. Now, he's decided to go to the NFL. Andrew, all of a sudden now the pipeline for a young, aggressive assistant coaches or people who may have upside in that department, you know, that pool may be increased because a lot of people don't want to hang around college football, given the state it's in.
Well, I think the skills have changed, right? So if somebody's breaking into the broadcast business now, Bob, they're getting into TV in 2024. That's different from when you broke in back in the, I don't want to give the year here and make you sound old.
I'm old. You can say it.
Right. So, so you got to be proficient at social media skills, YouTube, being able to post things, all that. That's different from when you got in, when it was all about camera presentation and you had to splice video on cart machines and stuff like that.
Old school,
right?
Baby.
So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because Charlie Partridge, really good coach, great coach actually for what he does, older guy. It's changing. So the younger coaches now that are more adaptable, that grew up in the NIL era and had to learn that in order to further their careers, I think it's time for those people to move in. If the older coaches don't want to evolve with the times, you're gonna see more of what's happening, either retirements or they're going to go to the league where it's more black and white, the NFL. The whole paradigm of college sports, Bob, is changing, and it feels like one of those situations where you gotta you gotta jump on the moving train. You gotta either get with the times or get out.
Yeah, but even those who want to be with the times, sometimes it's beyond your control. If you're at a university which doesn't have the kind of backing from a booster point of view that some of these big time deep-pocketed programs have, you're at a disadvantage because you can bring in somebody really good and that person's going to get an offer that you can't match, and all of a sudden all the work you've done to recruit him is gone because he decides to leave. So I understand you want to evolve perhaps, but you may just get tired of the system because the system at your university doesn't compete with those who have deeper pockets. So it's a big problem.
No doubt. Bob, but also you can go both ways, right? I mean, Pitt can poach. We're talking about Pitt here with Partridge leaving. Pitt can coach kids from MAC schools, great guys that like Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, if Ben Roethlisberger, if that happened now, Ben would be getting huge offers to leave Miami, Ohio to go to Power 5 schools because he was better than the league he played in. You also have situations where guys maybe go to Alabama, they get buried on the depth chart, and like the quarterback that they've got coming in now, he wants a chance to play. So there are opportunities there. You are going to lose your fair share of players. You are going to have more Jordan Addison situations. But it's a dog-eat-dog world. You got to poach from the Toledos and the Western Kentuckys, and you got to be mindful of guys like LSU and Alabama and Georgia who want playing time. So I do think you can still win at Pitt. It's just, Bob, the recruiting period never stops now.
No.
It's 365, and you've got to recruit your own players to stay sometimes,
you
too.
re-recruit them. You have to keep recruiting the guys you've already recruited. All right, let's recruit Mark. He's from Pittsburgh. He joins us right now on the hotline. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hi. Hi. The situation that Patrick Mahomes' dad is in, would it be emotionally distracting if he came to the game?
I think it'll be a distraction one way or the other because he's going to be asked about it a whole bunch, knowing that this is the third time for his father, and he spent time in jail before. This time could be a lot longer. So the distraction comes in the form of questions that he'll be getting. No matter what he talks about, it's going to be brought up, I would imagine. He may say, I'm going to take one more question, I'm not talking about it. But it still is an overhanging situation. And quite frankly, Pony, I'm a little disappointed that, if he has a problem, he has a problem. But also, man, there's so much money in that family right now. Just get an Uber, get a Lyft, get something if you're in that position. You should learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, well, we've seen, though, look at, I hate to bring his name up, but look at poor Bob Huggins. I shouldn't say poor, but, you can have a great situation at a university where they basically treat you like you're the governor of the state, and, people have issues with drinking. It's sad, and seek help. And there's people right now that will, lend a helping hand to Patrick Mahomes Sr. Because they want to see him get better, and they also want to see him be able to enjoy all of his son's success. But I don't think it's going to hurt him in Sunday's game. They had a situation with Andy Reid and his son the last time when they lost to Tampa Bay in that Super Bowl. But, there was a young girl who was hurt in that. I think his son was on the coaching staff in some capacity. But Mahomes has had distractions before, maybe not to this degree, but his brother has gotten into trouble. His brother has done some really, not criminal things, but dumb things on social media. His wife is a very outspoken person who likes to use her platform, and she polarizes people. So Patrick Mahomes and the people in his life being distractions, this is nothing new to him. And so I've seen him too many times be able to block that out, Bob, and still play well in big games.
Let's go to Jim in Cranberry before we take a break. Hey, Jim, what's up?
Hey, Jim.
Hey, how you guys?
Good.
Hey, real quick, you guys watching the Live Tour, I want to talk about the Steelers too, but it's terrible. 3 rounds, I mean, it's disgusting. Wearing shorts, getting paid way too much.
They don't have a TV contract. More than anything, Jim, they got to have a TV contract. Without it, no one's watching. And quite frankly, the only thing I want to see from them is a Ryder Cup format, Live versus PGA. To me, that would be
how are
compelling.
guys still leaving? I don't get it. Like, I thought they were merging. I thought Live and PGA were coming together.
They haven't made a deal
so
yet.
What's going on with guys still leaving to go to Live? I'm very confused by that.
Money. Cha-ching, cha-ching. It's as simple as that.
But if they're all going to be in the same sports league, why are they still paying guys to leave?
Because they're not in the same sports league. And I don't know if there's a deal coming. They thought they were going to have one, and then that fell apart. And now they're trying to get outside people involved and organization. I don't know where it heads, to be honest with you. But I do know this, that it's hard to watch, and they need a major television deal. Without one, I don't care what they spend, they're never going to get the bang on their buck they want. By the way, this week is the biggest tournament for people who love golf in a wasted variety. It's the Waste Management Classic. I know that's a special place in your heart. Andrew, you got to get out to that one day. We'll talk more about it. Have you ever thought about it, to go there, to Phoenix?
I was in Phoenix for the Super Bowl last year, and it was at the same time as the Waste Management.
And did you go?
The invitation got extended, and I turned it down.
Oh, man. It is one of those experiences that should be on a bucket list. Chuck in Ohio, real quick. You're going to be our last caller tonight. What's up, Chuck?
Well, with my man Cam Hayward that played at Ohio State getting older, are the Steelers, I know they need help at quarterback with all the talk, but what's the draft looking at? Don't they need help on the defensive line?
Yeah, there's some good guys available there. There's some deep cornerback positions that they can go after. If you're looking at Yeah, a lot of things the Steelers need, including center, are going to be available in this draft. Now, how much of it when they pick, I don't know, so I do expect some free agent signings, Pony.
Bob, I think wide receiver was a position that I had circled, and then Arthur Smith happened, and he uses 3 wide receivers less than any coach in the NFL. So you're probably going to see Deontay Johnson in his last year, George Pickens, and maybe no draft pick. Maybe they cut Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin getting phased out. There are winners and losers in this coaching change, and I think the wide receivers behind the top 2 and draft prospects wanting to be a Steeler are part of that.
Yeah, we're going to find out. It should be interesting. That's not until April. We have a lot going on, including free
Bob,
agency.
you're interesting.
Huh? Well, I appreciate that, Andrew. So are you. I find you very intriguing. To the point where I want to ask you real quick, early line, do you like San Francisco -2.5?
I do, but I bet against Mahomes in every playoff game, and how do you think that's gone for me?
Not
well.
good, even on the road, where a lot of people thought he wasn't going to be able to survive. Well, he did. Their defense is pretty good as well. Pony, thanks. We'll do it again tomorrow night. Look forward to seeing you then. And if you want to get your opinion heard, don't forget to tune in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call tonight at 10:35 on KDKA+. So give us a call at 412-575-2600. We do it every night after the 10 o'clock news. For CBS News Pittsburgh, I'm Bob Pompeani.